power brokers, the wall of power will fall. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. If you've been listening to my show for the last 14 years on AM 50, you know I revere and appreciate the Minnesota music community. I spent 40 years in Minneapolis, playing thousands of gigs and hanging with hundreds of great Minnesota musicians. We've got two on tonight. First up will be Edie Baumgart. She's written a great cookbook with recipes for Minnesota rock and rollers. And then secondly, we're going to be talking to the great Nate Dungan from Trailer Trash. But first up, we have Edie Baumgart. Tell us about your new book, Edie, and welcome to the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So I had this crazy idea about putting together a book that kind of showcased what people in Minnesota were doing besides playing music, and that's cooking, right? So there are many, many great musicians I know are great cooks. Some of them are not as good at cooks, but they always have an interesting story. So as I was putting this together, what sort of became apparent was we expanded the recipe book a little bit beyond just musicians. So it's really a community book. It's got people who run venues. It's got sound engineers. It has people who are photographers. Because as you well know, it takes a lot of people to make a great scene. It's not just the musicians. And we're really grateful for all the people around that make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. I've been saying for years, Minneapolis, St. Paul has the greatest collection of sound men and women. In fact, a lot of the great sound companies that started in Minneapolis went out in the 70s, and a lot of those sound crews and systems went out around the country. But I mean, as you know, as a musician yourself, we are blessed to have, with all the dozens of great music clubs in the Twin Cities area, how important and how great just the sound people are.
It's really true. Because, we only sound as good as the person out front making a sound. So it's a huge thing. And the photographers, we have tons of photographers coming to shows who are doing this for free. We get great professional photographs that help promote our shows, document what's going on, and it's pretty great. And then we have people like, the crazy man John Clifford, who not only runs a hair studio and cuts half the hair of the musicians in town, but he has a Minnesota-based music store. It's pretty great. We've got a lot of people that are really music lovers that help promote our scene.
Before we hear a little bit more about the book, we're going to hear one of Edie's songs recorded under the name Edie Ray. This is a number called Wasted Eyes.
I kind of do like rock and roll.
I know what you know, 'cause I'm seeing through your wasted eyes. I know what you know, 'cause I'm seeing through your wasted eyes. I know what you know, 'cause I'm seeing through your wasted eyes. I lying I know what you know, 'cause I'm seeing through your thin disguise. I know what you know, 'cause I'm seeing.
Oh, once again, that was Wasted Eyes by Edie Ray, also known as Edie Baumgart. That was a beautiful song. Tell us who played on that.
I've been recording a lot with Rob Genetic, who's, as you probably know, a great engineer and a great drummer. We recorded that during the pandemic. We recorded it during the pandemic. So we actually went in the studio. Rob and I did a lot of stuff. He was in one room behind glass. I was in another room behind glass. And then we added in Rich Matson. We sent tracks up to Sparta Sound to get Rich to play guitars on that. And so we have myself and Rich Matson and Rob Genetic playing bass, drums. I'm playing guitar. It was a really an interesting endeavor doing that during the pandemic.
Now, where have you played around town, Edie, as a musician?
Well, I've played almost. I don't even want. Should I tell you about all the places that are actually closed that I've played at?
Did you close them all down
Uh,
personally? No,
Pretty
tell us
much,
about
yeah.
where you played.
Yeah, we've closed them all down. So I currently have a monthly at the Schooner Tavern, which I love playing there. So I'm there the second Thursday of every month with my band, the Edie Ray Band. I also have another band called the Delindas. We are an 8-piece group, 7 women and a dude, and we play these stylings of Linda Ronstadt. You
Oh,
probably know
that's
lots
right.
of the people in that band. Ginny Dodds, Becky Capel, myself, Colleen Martin Oak are the singers. And we play the Turf Club, we play the Hook and Ladder, we play those kinds of venues. But I do play around a fair amount. We're been doing some things at Tuttle's out in Hopkins, which is a great venue. So those are just some of the places that we've been playing.
Cool. Well, tell us about when the idea for this book came about.
I was really, like you, Paul, I definitely think that we have an amazing lot of talent in this community and in Minnesota in general. And I was really thinking it would be fun to kind of put together, like, let's dive a little deeper and see what else musicians do besides cook. And as I got into this book, it really became a lot more about understanding our community and showing people just a very tiny glimpse. You could never, if I wanted to showcase everybody in this book, I would be working on this for another 10 years because it's that deep and it's that broad. But I wanted to actually showcase a little bit of our community and give it a highlight. Truthfully, Paul, one of the things I think that we could work on in Minnesota is I don't think our city and state really do a very good job of telling people how good our community is and how amazing the talent is.
I totally agree. I've had the pleasure over the years of playing in New York City, Boston, Miami, Austin, Texas, which I think is probably as close to the Minneapolis music scene as there is in terms of quality and quantity of talent. I've also played in San Francisco and Los Angeles, but I've been telling people for 40 years, Minneapolis has as good of a music scene, if not better, than any other town in the country.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if it's okay, I'd also like to include, Minnesota, because I'll tell you, some of the stuff coming out of Duluth and out of the Iron Range is stunning to me. I mean, so yeah, it's pretty great. And so what I wanted to, as I got into this, because I love to eat and I love to cook. So and I love to play music and I love to write songs. So those are all things that are favorites. And I was like, why can't we put this together, right? Why wouldn't? Hopefully, this will be interesting to people. And we've laid it out like a coffee table book. So I personally think it turned out really beautifully. The photographs are beautiful. They're all original photographs by Paul Ermitter. The layout is done by Todd Foley, who also is a designer. He's designed tons of record covers, just lots and lots of them. So he's integrated into the music scene as well. But I really wanted to kind of showcase to people in a different forum, like maybe you like to cook, maybe music isn't, maybe you don't know where to go to see some great music. Maybe you don't know all the people. And maybe this book will give people a little bit more insight into the gift that we have here.
Edie, if you would have called me for me to, in fact, I've had an idea for this for years, but I would have a very short cookbook. Paul Metsa's recipe would include my favorite, the toasted peanut butter sandwich, and I always like to butter the toast before I toast it, and then do the peanut butter and jelly, which doesn't sound too complicated because it's me and it isn't. But and then just about any pizza at 375 to 10 to 15 minutes. My favorite, of course, is the Totino's pizza rolls. It wouldn't have added much to your book, but I just wanted to throw that in there for hungry listeners today.
I love it. Well, Curtis A has a section in there that is not so much about cooking either. So I guess I did a miss, Paul, in not giving you a call about your peanut butter sandwich.
Volume 2.
Yeah, there you go.
So tell us
So,
about
I laid the book out like a show, right? So the first part is opening acts, the entrees are headliners, and then I did an intermission section, and that is there's a bonus section in there with photographs and some fun stories by people who don't really cook, but they're all people you'd know from the music industry.
well, and people like you said, not just musicians. I was happy when I saw the PDF that my good friend Cray Pygmy Macaulay was in there with his version of the Bullwinkle's hot dog.
Yeah, no, he's a great cook, as you know. And Cray, yeah, I've known Cray for a long time. He's just a wonderful gift, and he's in the book because he is a music scene person. There are many things that the story that I have in there about Cray is that Cray actually connected in with another friend of ours that I think Paul James Loney, and they started doing a open mic for original songwriters down at Bullwinkle's back in the day, and it's where many of us came and played and met every Wednesday night. I've written several songs that came out of those sessions, and we all started to get to know each other, and that was Cray did that. He's a big scenester, as you know.
Oh, Cray! I've known Cray for 40 years. I met him while he had fallen asleep under a table at the Surfer Lounge in 1981 when Cats Under the Stars were making our way to the big city. But he is, no one knows more about the music scene than Cray. And he told me a story when I saw his name in the intro to the book that he was down working at Bullwinkle's in the basement doing whatever Cray did in the basement besides prepare food. And he heard you sing at one of those James Loney's songwriters shows, and he was just knocked out. He's a big fan of yours, Edie.
Well, it's a mutual fandom, so I'm a big fan of Cray as well. But yeah, we had a lot of fun on those Wednesday nights. And just so you know, there were a couple of nights, I don't want to go into it because I don't really know. There were a couple of nights I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing down in the basement? I'm in there, they all looked at me and was like, no, you don't want to go down there. I'm like, all right.
They're preparing
all right, I'm not going down there.
They're preparing the hot dogs. Say, Edie, can you grab a menu out of the book and describe a recipe?
Sure. Are you hungry for an entree or do you like an appetizer?
Let's do an entree.
All right. So one of the most original recipes in this book is a recipe called Krautsadillas. And Craig Tyken, who is part of the record label, Raviate Records, he has helped produce a lot of my records. He also is one of the big impetuses for Dave Rave and the Governors, which a lot of people know. But he's also quite the cook, and this is his invention. So really, what it is it's a quesadilla done with sauerkraut. So he does onions and peppers and sautés the onions and peppers down, and then sautés the sauerkraut. And then you basically take that concoction. You can add meat if you like. He's a big fan of pork steak, which is already pre-grilled. Or you can do vegetarian. And then you assemble the quesadillas with your favorite cheese. Usually we like something a little melty, like a nice Gruyere cheddar combo, or sometimes it's whatever we have in the refrigerator. I don't remember exactly what cheese he picked for the recipe in the book. And then basically you put it in the tortilla and create a quesadilla, and it's called a Krautsadilla. They're terrific.
Wow. When I do interviews with Matt McNeil, a daytime host on AM 950, who's got some severe Iron Range roots, we always talk about pasties because we're a big fan of pasties. And he recently bought a sauerkraut pasty from Paul's Market in Eveleth. And I've been talking to the people that know these things on the Iron Range. We're thinking about pulling his Iron Range card because sauerkraut shouldn't be in pasties, but it sounds better in quesadillas.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's terrific if you're at all a sauerkraut fan, and it's all sautéed down. So some of the, I personally like sauerkraut in many different versions, but if you don't like it maybe quite so pungent, it's sauteed in there with the onions and the peppers, and it's just terrific. There's a lot of flavor there.
Now, Edie, do you have a recipe of your own in the book?
I do. I have a recipe that I like a lot. It's called midnight pasta. And the concept of midnight pasta was when the Italians, back in the day, apparently there weren't a lot of places for them to eat after, if they'd been out, at night. There weren't a lot of late night places in lots of places of Italy. And so it was a recipe that was created because it was a lot of things in your cupboard. And it's, you basically take anchovies, which a lot of people don't like. You can leave them out, but I wouldn't, because it adds so much umami in there that it's amazing. So you basically disintegrate the anchovies in the olive oil, and then you add garlic, and you make your spaghetti and your pasta. You save some of the pasta water. When all of that is, the garlic and the anchovies have kind of melted into the olive oil, you add your pasta in, you add in a little bit of pasta water to get it to the consistency you like, and then you can add in capers, and you add parsley, and I also add in a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes, and then you top it with some Parmesan, and you would be amazed at how good this recipe. It's really quick, it's really fast, and it's yum-alicious.
Edie, I think you have the beginnings of a cooking show.
You never know. You never
Well,
know. Paul, I'm from a really big family, and I was in the kitchen I was in the kitchen with my mom at 5 because we all had to cook. So
think about this, though, and I'm serious. So it's a weekly show. Let's say it's something like MCN6. You have your cooking routine like you'd see Betty Crocker, whoever had their cooking show. So you bring in a musician a week, have them cook their recipe, and have them play a song.
Yeah, well, we have kind of thrown that around. So I don't know. Maybe you and I will have to plot this out, Paul.
Let's do that. We just got a little bit of time left. I know you had a great cookbook release party today at John Clifford's Hi-Fi and Sound. Did John behave himself?
No.
He never does.
No, I mean, really, why would you expect him to?
No.
No, we had a great time. It was terrific. We're getting a lot of books out there. I've been really happy with when people see this book, they're really quite pleased because it turned out really beautiful. They're surprised that everything is kind of laid out how it is. And yeah, we had a great time at John's. He's terrific, as you know. Head down to Hi-Fi Hair and Records, people. He's on Loring Park, and he's got his record shop is all Minnesota music. That's all he carries. And as you know, Paul, he's got a great museum of amazing Minnesota memorabilia. So
Clifford to me is kind of the heart of the Minneapolis rock and roll scene now. One more question.
Yes, well, we've dubbed him the mayor of Minneapolis music.
Yeah, I'll second that. And you got a show coming up up on the Iron Range in my hometown of Virginia. Tell us about that.
Yes, we are, because we have some people in the book that are not based in Minneapolis. They're here a lot, but Steve McClellan, as you know, who is the First Avenue legend, he's now in Cloquet, and we have Rich Mattson and Jermaine Gamberling from Sparta Sound, which is in Sparta, which is, as you know, right by the Quad Cities of Eveleth, Sparta, Gilbert, and Virginia. So we're going to be at the Lyric Arts Center, which they now call Chair. It's the Cultural and Heritage Arts on the Iron Range in the old Opera House, right in downtown Virginia. We're going to be there the night before Thanksgiving on the 26th, doing a little happy hour with some light appetizers from 5 to 6, and then we're going to have a little book talk with all of the musicians, including myself and Craig Tyken, Rich and Jermaine, and Steve. We'll see if we can get Steve to quiet down. I don't know if that's going to be a possibility.
Well, and that the old Lyric, which is now Chair, it's run by a good buddy of mine, Paul Gregerson, and then you're going to have a little after party at the Arrowhead Bar on the main street of Virginia, which Cats Under the Stars just opened up last month. with Mr. Dennis Matson and his wife Pam Lake. Have a wonderful time up there in Virginia. Can people order the book online?
They can, yes. If you go to the Facebook page of Raybeat Records, you'll see a QR code there that lists all the events, and that's the link that you can purchase the book.
Thank you, Edie Baumgart. We're going to end this section. We're going to get with Nate Dungan here in a minute, but we're going to listen to a song called Wonky Town by Dave Ray and the Governor's feature and the great Rich Matson on lead vocals. Hope I might see you in Virginia, Edie, and I can't wait to get the book.
That'd be great. Thanks so much, Paul. This is super fun.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
There's another place to be. You should not be seen. It's plain to see it's not your city. You could see by her face she was drowning in the race. She spiraled off spinning. Understand you're leaving. Don't take your time. You run away screaming from Wonky Town. From Wonky Town. It's been a long time since you liked this place. Everybody thinks you're from outer space. Forget all your things, you won't need them no more. Don't look back once you close that door. Understand your need.
Welcome back to the third set of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. I am very excited to have one of my favorite hockey talkers on the horn. Nate Dungan has led Trailer Trash for years. They are in the tradition of all the great American hockey talkers around the country, and they've got Christmas season's coming up, and they've got a handful of Christmas shows. They've developed a show just around Christmas songs, and Nate is going to tell us all about it. But before, Nate, welcome tonight to the show, and tell us a little bit, for those people that don't know, when did Trailer Trash get started? You guys have been around through a couple of presidential administrations.
Yeah, we have. We are veterans of the scene. We have been together since 1993 when we first started playing Lee's Liquor Lounge in downtown Minneapolis.
The Clinton years.
Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, that was such a naive time, such a time of simple fun back then.
Yeah, let's go back there in a time machine any day this week.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Tell us a little bit about Lee. I met, I'd see you guys down there. I saw some great shows because you also booked the place. I saw an amazing Billy Joe Shaver show there. I've seen Dale Watson. Oh, yeah, man. That was legendary, man. I wish somebody would have videotaped that one. Yeah,
those were the days. That was like a roadhouse bar in downtown Minneapolis. It was one of the last of the old saloons. It was not a fern bar. You would not find a copper rail or a brass fern or, brass kettle or any kind of that kind of decor. It's before the days of corporate bars. And so it was just an old-fashioned honky-tonk roadhouse.
And Lee was such a sweet guy. He had...
Yeah, the old man that ran the place. His name was... It was Louis, and he bought it from a man named Lee, but he never changed the sign out front. So, yeah, Louis, he bought that place back in the 70s, and he kept it spick and span. He loved cleaning that bar and keeping it up, and, he just had the greatest attitude, and he was like our dad. It was like a home away from home, Lee's Liquor Lounge.
And he also had an incredible collection of Elvis decanters.
Yeah, he sure did. He was a I don't want to say hoarder, but he was definitely a collector. He loved to. He was a pack rat. He collected all the nice stuff that came through. So he had a special trophy case full of Elvis Presley memorabilia. It was pretty exciting.
Did he have a connection with Elvis at all, or just a
Yeah,
fan?
he served in Germany right after Elvis had been there. So he wasn't in Elvis's actual company, but he was in the same, I want to say, maybe battalion is right.
Sure.
In the same, he was there at the same time as Elvis's time, and so he was hanging out in the same places where Elvis had hung out, and there was still a lot of, for him, it was a big connection, just because, that was the day and age when, kids would, wind up overseas, drafted into the Army and doing their stint in the service. Louis actually was a squadron commander of a company of tanks. And so he commanded, he had a squadron of tanks that he commanded. I think he had a whole company of tanks. And so when they would go for, their, when they went for their R&R, they went to the same places that Elvis hung out. And I think that's where the fascination started.
Wow. Well, he was such a gentleman. And I believe, if you'd go there on a Friday afternoon, he was also a guy that cashed checks for a lot of the workers in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the kind of bar it was. It had a little check cashing window in the corner for the, the neighborhood folks, the working people, and they would line up there. There were 7 factories in the neighborhood, and people would come in and cash their paycheck and take a seat at the bar,
And have one on their way home. Now, Nate, how did the music scene actually evolve at Lee's Liquor Lounge? Were you one of the prime movers?
Well, it was always happening at Lee's. Of course, music in Minneapolis and St. Paul, it's always bubbling up in different places. And
Right.
So Louis had been booking bands to play the weekends at that establishment for many years. And he brought me on to book the place in '95 because it had become so popular over the couple of years that we've been playing there. And I said, hey, I'll be glad to book it for you. And lucky for me, he let me work for him, so that's how it started.
Well, what a great combination. And also, didn't you also book the 400 around that time?
Yeah, I did. I booked the 400 for about a year, right before the old owner sold it to the Sullivan brothers. That would have been '96.
I remember
And,
I have a business card somewhere of Nate Dungan, booking czar.
Booking czar, yes. I think I got that from Steve McClellan. I stole that from Steve. Steve, if
Well,
you're out
he
there,
was
thank you very much.
he was for sure the booking czar, the best booking czar of all time. If not only in the Twin Cities, but anywhere in the world, man. That guy, I get to see Steve because I live in Duluth. He lives in Cloquet. I had him on my radio show, I think after Mojo Nixon passed away, telling great stories about booking Mojo. And
Yeah.
I think Steve told me he had booked over 13,000 shows.
I'm sure. That's not an exaggeration. Yeah, Steve definitely did it.
So when
He showed us all the way. He was the pathfinder.
And the Steve, everybody thought, man, he's so grumpy, which he, occasionally caught him on the wrong day would be, but he, like Dave Ray, who seemed to be grumpy at first, were 2 of the sweetest guys I ever met.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Steve, he had a crusty exterior, but he was a sweetheart inside. And, of course, the older he got, the more everybody discovered that, that was his personality,
Yeah. Kind of the black and white, but no, love the guy to death. Tell us before we start talking about the upcoming Christmas shows with Trailer Trash. Tell us about some of the favorite shows you booked while you were the booker at Lee's Liquor Lounge, Nate Dungan.
Oh, my goodness. Paul, there are just so many. it really ranged from, the sublime to the ridiculous. We had, national touring acts like, that were popular at the time to, local acts that were fantastic. That's the great thing about Minnesota music. It's a hotbed of talent. There's just so much going on around the Twin Cities, anyway, where we're from, and it spreads out to the prairie and the range. Folks are out there, and so it was just a kind of a place to celebrate roots rock music. That's what we were doing. It was a lot of Americana, a lot of roots, straight up country, rockabilly, swing, polka, all that fun stuff. And I'll tell you this, Paul, the first act I booked there that Louis would allow me to charge a cover charge was the first act was Tiny Tim.
Right.
The late and great Tiny Tim. And it was fantastic. We had 500 people crammed into Lee's Liquor Lounge for Tiny Tim.
And Bob Dylan and Tiny Tim grew up, came of age together. I think Tiny Tim was a little older in Greenwich Village. Dylan's mentioned him several times over the years. I believe he married a woman from Minneapolis. And then, unfortunately, didn't he pass away on stage at Lee's Liquor Lounge?
Not at Lee's. It was the second to last concert he performed in public was at Lee's Liquor Lounge, and then a couple of months later he was at the Women's Club Assembly Hall, which was, another fine venue downtown Minneapolis. That he did expire at the end of that performance. Yes.
Well, if you're a lifelong entertainer, really, what a way to go.
Yeah, amazing. He was so gracious and so kind, just a beautiful man. Beautiful. He was an incredible personality and treated everybody so respectfully. He was just the most unique, eccentric individual I've ever met. And he had this amazing animal magnetism. He had this power. When he got on stage, you could not turn away. It was the most amazing thing in the world. He started out with Let Me Call You Sweetheart, and he finished up with, he did Heartbreak Hotel. He did all kinds of crazy songs. And then he ended up with God Bless America. I mean, it was... it was
Doesn't
like
get any better than that. And Let Me Call You Sweetheart, that was one of my Grandpa Emo's favorite songs. Say, one question, do you have any pictures of you in Tiny Tim?
Not of me in Tiny Tim, but there are pictures of him from that night that I think you can find on the old Lee's Liquor Lounge Facebook page.
Wow.
They might be up there. Yeah.
I'll try to track that down. We've got Nate Dungan on from Trailer Trash. He's got a bunch of shows he's going to tell us about. But before, we're going to hear Trailer Trash doing Crazy for Christmas.
My baby, she's crazy for Christmas. It's her favorite time of year. She's counting down the days of December until it's finally here. She's got friends from out of town stopping by to say hello. When they come around, she's on the go, go, go. They'll be drinking wine, taking selfies by the fire. She'll be making angels in the snow, snow, snow. My baby.
Oh, man, that was rocking. We are back with Nate Dungan, the leader of Trailer Trash, who just played that beautiful version of Crazy for Christmas. So, Nate, you've got some Christmas shows coming up. Tell us all about them. And I know you're coming up.
Yeah, we are looking forward to coming to Silver Bay to kick it all off this Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to be in Silver Bay on the 28th, Friday, playing Friday the 28th of November, playing the Memorial Hall up on the hill there above Silver Bay, looking out at beautiful Lake Superior. And then the following night, we're playing a house party for Rocky Wall Productions. And of course, the whole thing is being put together by Nelson French, and, we're excited to be doing that. And then following that, we've got a slew of shows to play down here in the Twin Cities. And this is our standard thing we do, Paul. We have a Christmas mini tour. Yeah.
And where are you playing in the cities?
Yeah, in the cities, we're going to be playing at the Parkway Theater, and then at the Hook and Ladder, and finally at the Turf Club. That's the last 3 weeks of December. We're, before Christmas there. So it's become a tradition we've been doing since 2015. So I guess we're going on 10 years of making our rounds.
What's the website? How can people track down the dates of these? All the shows.
Yes, the website is Trailer Trash Music at trailertrashmusic.com. If you Google up Trailer Trash Twin Cities, Trailer Trash Minnesota, you're bound to find us. We're the little band from Honky Tonk Heaven.
I've got to put a little plug in here. My band, I love the Parkway. I played there several times. Cats on the Stars. We're doing you think you're getting old, Nate. We're doing our 50th anniversary on Sunday, December 28th with the big 7-piece electric band with the great Tommy Lieberman opening, the Tiltown Titanettes, and Sonny Earl. I want to put a plug in for that. Nate, tell us a little bit about who's currently in the band.
Well, Trailer Trash has been together since 1993, and we've still got half of the original members. I should say, actually, 2/3 of us are original, which is kind of amazing. We've outlasted bars and marriages and certainly other bands. But this musical marriage has stayed together and stood the test of time. It's kind of a unique thing. It's phenomenal, and I think we all at this stage of the game are just really happy to have each other to play music with. And so the guys in the group, I can tell you, our drummer is Keely Lane. Our steel player is Randy Broughton. Our bass player is Steve Price. And keyboards, which is piano, accordion, and organ, is Jonathan Duncan. And who am I missing? Or the other guitar player in the band, besides myself, is a guy named Randy Anderson. And, so that lineup has been together since 2015, so 10 years. I guess the lineup has been together longer, but the newest guy in the band is bass player Steve, who joined us in 2015, so he's 10 years along.
And he also doubles with the Suburbs.
He plays in the Suburbs, and he plays in a lot of Mick Sterling's bands. He's a busy fella. He runs a studio and an overdub shop. He's quite a busy full-time musician. Steve Price on bass. He's fantastic.
Well, I sure enjoyed. You invited me to sit in with you at the Cedar Lounge about a couple months ago in Superior, and we did a little Johnny Cash. I think we did Folsom Prison Blues, and the band sounded great, man. You guys sounded as good as ever. I want to tell people that have never seen the Trailer Trash Trashy Little Christmas show that it was one of David Carr's, the esteemed journalist, came of age in Minneapolis and ended up the last 10 years of his life working for the New York Times. He would come in early from New York City just to see the Trailer Trash Christmas show. And there's no greater honor than that. I
remember Dave Carr. Dave Carr's fantastic, and your listeners will remember him as being a champion of the Constitution, freedom of speech, a great writer, a terrific investigative reporter that taught people how to do it. He worked for City Pages, or rather the Twin Cities Reader, and then the DC Pages, and then all the way up to the New York Times. And you're absolutely right. When he came into town, he dropped by Lee's Liquor Lounge to see us. We ended up playing his wedding reception.
Wow.
That was Dave Carr and the lovely Jill Rooney getting married in Minneapolis along about whenever that was, goodness sakes, probably back in the early aughts. And do you remember Tom Arnold, the comedian?
What?
He showed up at that. he was at that wedding and he sang a song with us. That was legendary.
Tom Arnold, David Carr, and Paul Metsa would close several bars like the CC Club and Liquor Lyle's and Mortimer's, and occasionally show up the next morning to open those same bars up.
Yeah.
But we won't get into those stories on this family-oriented Wall of Power Radio Hour show. Yeah, and I was honored. Dave wrote the foreword to my book, Blue Guitar Highway. Nate Dungan, this has been great. I encourage everybody to go out and see any of these Christmas shows by Trailer Trash. We're going to end tonight with a song performed by Trailer Trash called Night Before Christmas. Nate, thanks for your time. Hopefully we'll hook up
thank you, Paul.
One of these shows.
Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you out the show.
Was the night before Christmas, and all through the place, not a preacher was showing off, showing his face. The stockings were hung on the chimney of care, with everybody hoping they'd be getting their share. The kids were upstairs, asleep in their sacks, dreaming of a king-size Santa Claus packs. I was dressed in pajamas, my feet without shoes. I was settling down for lonely stews. But out on the lawn, I heard such a clatter. I jumped out of bed, yelled, hey, what's the matter? I went to the window, I opened the blinds, and man, I thought I was losing my mind. My eyes were popping, cause what should appear but a miniature sleigh with 8 reindeer and a little old driver, so lively and quick. Well, bless my bones, it was old Saint Nick, and up to the rooftop, he pulling his sleigh with a red.
Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. The show is produced by Paul Metsa, engineered by Patrick Lilia. We'd like to thank our guests, Edie Baumgart and Nate Dungan. You can follow me at paulmetsa.com, and don't forget the Big Cats Under the Stars 50th anniversary show at the Parkway Theater, December 28th. Just go to the Parkway Theater to their website and order tickets. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.